A Nebraska city becomes the 24th sanctuary city to the unborn. I'm Mark Harrington, and you're tuned in to Activist Radio, The Mark Harrington Show. The Mark Harrington Show is brought to you by Created Equal, and you can donate to Created Equal by going to createdequal.org. So today we got some breaking news coming out of the state of Nebraska, where the city of Hayes Center has become the 24th sanctuary city for the unborn. 24th. There's 23 of those are in the state of Texas. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to be talking about the sanctuary cities for the unborn movement or initiative that is really gaining momentum across America. So you don't want to go anywhere. You want to tune in and stay the whole time on the Mark Harrington Show today. For those who listen or watch by YouTube, I want to make sure that you're aware of some changes. We are transitioning from the Created Equal YouTube page to a dedicated Mark Harrington Show page in the next month or so. So you're going to want to make sure you make that switch if you listen or watch on YouTube. So my guest today is Mark Lee Dickson, and he is with the Right to Life of East Texas. Hey, Mark, thanks for being on the show today.
Great to be here.
Hey, so Mark, you are in Nebraska right now, right?
Absolutely. I'm in Hayes Center, Nebraska.
Very cool. So I caught this on Life News, this breaking news about the 24th city, sanctuary city for the unborn. Now, this is the first one outside of the state of Texas, right? Officially.
Absolutely. And it's good to point out here that there's other cities across the United States that have claimed to be a sanctuary city for the unborn. But what we're specifically talking about, we're talking about the outlawing of abortion. So this is the 24th city in the nation to actually outlaw abortion, and the first outside of Texas.
I'd say that's pretty significant. We want to get into this notion. I think probably a lot of our listeners and viewers don't even know about this initiative. About a year ago, I brought you on the program talking about what was going on in Texas. I think at that time there might have been 12 cities. Now there are 24. You've got other states lining up. And I'm here to announce today, we're making news right now that Ohio is going to be one of those. We are taking... we're going to be taking part in this. We're actually Created Equal is going to make this a big part of our mission to try to bring some sanctuary cities for the unborn online in the state of Ohio. But before we get into that, talk about what is the strategy? Why do this? Why not just work at the federal or state level?
Well, growing up, I always believed that the state capital, the nation's capital was the be all end all. That's where we got the job done. But it ended up, I was looking in scripture, Amos 5:15 says to hate evil, to love good, and to establish justice within the city gate. There's so much emphasis on our cities and protecting our cities. And looking across the spectrum, all politics really is local. And I really believe with all my heart that the strongest body of government outside of the family unit and the body of Christ is the local governments that we live in.
Well, it was the former Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, way back in the Reagan years that coined that phrase, by the way, that all politics is local. I think it's more true today than ever. As we see the breakdown in Washington, D.C., we see the corruption, the dysfunction. We see who's sitting in the White House right now. And I think most of us as pro-lifers understand that very little, if anything, could get done at the federal level. We had Donald Trump in office for 4 years, and he got some good things done with executive orders. But as far as the Congress goes, there was nothing really substantive that got done. And even now with the Biden administration, we're just going to be stopping bad things from happening. So I think it's long past due, and we've never put our eggs in the federal basket here at Created Equal. We've always felt like things should be done locally. But I think a lot of people are coming to that conclusion, maybe a little late, but I mean, it's better late than never, right? Are coming to the
Absolutely.
conclusion that the dysfunction and the gridlock in Washington, there's nothing, very little is going to get done on the pro life front, except maybe stopping bad things from happening, at least for the next 4 years. And so a lot of folks are looking at the local level uh, and the state level. I mean, the state level, we still have a shot at a lot of good things. I mean, in your state, Texas, a lot of things are happening. We had our
Absolutely.
heartbeat bill passed here 2 years ago, and there's still some optimism there at the state level. But all politics are really local. If you would explain the strategy, what's the plan? Why do this on such a small level? Is the goal to try to rack up as many cities in a state that you can kind of basically surround the big metropolitan areas and then finally move to close those down as well, those abortion mills in those cities?
Well, it really is just as simple. We want to protect our cities. The
Mhm.
Biden administration earlier this year said that they want to see abortion access. They're committing to abortion access in every zip code.
Right.
Well, if we look at where all the zip codes are at, if he's really going after every single zip code in America, then all of our cities are in danger. And so that's really pushing a number of cities. That's the straw that's breaking the camel's back. That what more information do they need? Biden has said he's promised abortion access in their zip code.
Mhm. Yep, so these cities just have to take authority over their own locations. There is biblical precedent for this. You've already mentioned the passage, there, but we, as Christians, hopefully know about the cities of refuge in the Old Testament, where God created these cities where if someone were, unintentionally or accidentally committed murder, they could retreat to a city of refuge, which would protect them from the blood avenger. We see that in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 41 through 42, where it says, "Then Moses set aside 3 cities east of the Jordan to which anyone who had killed a person could flee if he had unintentionally killed a neighbor without malice or forethought. They could flee into one of these cities and save their life." Now, we know that this isn't perfectly analogous to the abortion issue, obviously. When you have, but it is a place of refuge for the innocent. These are unintended murder or killings, accidentally. They would flee here for protection from the blood avenger. So there is precedent for this, that God creates these cities of refuge. And that's really what a sanctuary city is for the unborn who are innocent of any kind of crime, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah, they've done nothing wrong. In fact, the world is so backwards. What's up is down, what's down is up. And
right.
what this city council that voted here in Hayes Center, uh, they're called the Board of Trustees. We go by different phrases and different levels of
Hmm.
government. Here it's called the Village Hayes Center. So
Hmm.
it's a Board of Trustees and the board chairman. And in their city, they decided that this was a no-brainer issue. That do
Right.
they want abortion to ever take place in their city? Well, no. And so they ended up passing this ordinance. It was unanimous. And I'll tell you one thing, that our side doesn't do this like the other side does. But
Mm.
uh, when Wascom outlawed abortion, the headlines were, I think it was like 5 old white men outlaw abortion. Well, here's a headline for the media. The majority of this city council was female. The mayor was female. 3 of the council members were female, and with 1 male, but majority female council. They know, women know that a mother is not to end the life of her child. So very common.
My guest again here today is Mark Lee Dickson. He's with Right to Life of East Texas, and he's leading up the sanctuary cities for the unborn initiative across America, and we have the first city outside the state of Texas that has now outlawed abortion. And we are now going to be taking this project on in the state of Ohio. And so if you live in Ohio, folks, and you want to get involved, what we exhort you to do is simply go to sanctuarycities.com. The petition or the questionnaire is up on the page right now. You can go there and fill that out. If you want to be someone who could head up bringing an ordinance to your city council to create a sanctuary city for the unborn in your town or township or city or what have you, then fill out this questionnaire. Mark will get that lead and he'll pass it on to us here in Ohio, and we'll follow up with you and see if we can get that done. So this is just a starter. I mean, we want to make sure that everybody is going through the right channels, because there's not a one size fits all ordinance for each one of these cities across America. It has to be looked at very closely to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So we have our own attorneys draft these things, and Mark and I would be involved in helping you pull that off. But we need to find people who are interested in this. So I'm asking you to take action today. Go fill out this questionnaire here and let us know if you want to be someone who could organize bringing an ordinance to your city council to protect the unborn within your city limits. So, Mark, let's talk about Roe v. Wade. A lot of people say, well, any law that's passed at the federal level or state level at this point that has anything to do with abortion is automatically struck down by the courts because they say it doesn't conform to the federal law, so to speak, of Roe v. Wade. Is this different?
Well, let me first off say Roe v. Wade is an unconstitutional court opinion. I believe it was wrongly decided, and that it's something that we do not need to accept as fact. Now, in saying that, though, these ordinances, even though they clearly state that Roe v. Wade is an inaccurate court opinion, that the Supreme Court was in error when they made that opinion, it does work within the laws of the state of Texas, the federal laws, and the rulings of the courts. And I want to separate that, because so many people out there believe that Roe v. Wade is the law of the land. And that's just not the case.
Not the case, no. No, it's an opinion of the U.S. Supreme Court. It doesn't have the force of law behind it. We treat it as such, unfortunately. But I'm of the opinion that we ought to be defying Roe v. Wade anyway, and just pass the laws and enforce them. And I think that's probably the opinion of many of the cities that are lining up now for the sanctuary cities for the unborn. I noticed in the Nebraska ordinance, and correct me if I'm wrong, it also deals with the abortion pill, which I think is hugely important, because now 4 out of 10 women who commit abortions do it through a medical abortion, not a surgical abortion. Is that true? That it actually deals with the medical abortion issue?
Absolutely. So all the sanctuary cities for the unborn ordinances outlaw surgical and medical abortions. But what the Nebraska ordinance does specifically for Hayes Center is it says that the abortion pill, which you would take at one of these abortion facilities, is to be treated as contraband in Hayes Center. So if anyone possesses the abortion pill, then that is an immediate fine on them for the possession of that.
Which I think is very important, obviously, because now, like I say, almost half of the abortions are done through a medical abortion, not through a surgical abortion. The other thing I like about this project, Mark, is that it puts these council members on record. These council members, typically, not all of them, but they often have future political plans. In other words, they tend to run for, state house. They might run for another state or local position. Many of them, they'd rather, in some cases, not take a position on abortion if they can get away with it. Like any politician, they kind of don't want to deal with these controversial issues. I like the idea that it puts them on record early on, even if they just stay at the city level. But if they move on through the, and involve themselves in politics over the years, they are now on record to be either for or against the killing of unborn babies. So I think this has an effect long term as well.
Absolutely. And that's what we really want to see. We want to see these cities, when we look at larger cities like Portland and Austin and places like that, how did they get to the place where they're at? At one
Hmm.
time, they were conservative cities, but
Right.
eventually, look at them now. I mean, Austin, Texas, they had a city council member that recommended demolishing the police department as tribute to Black Lives Matter. Their city
Hmm.
council ended up defunding the police and taking that money and giving it, part of that money, to abortion assistance groups. And so, if our elected officials don't represent our beliefs and values, then we need to do one of two things. We either need to vote them out of office, or we need to run for office ourselves and make sure that our beliefs and values are well represented in our cities.
Agreed. Mark Lee Dickson is my guest today. Right to Life of East Texas, and we have breaking news coming out of Nebraska. Hayes Center is now the 24th sanctuary city in the United States, and there are more coming online almost daily, if not weekly. And we want to make this happen in Ohio. So we're already beginning to collect questionnaires from individuals who might want to head this up in their own town. And so, folks, I want you to take action. You can simply go to sanctuarycities.com. You can see it on my page here on the screen, and just fill out the questionnaire. We need people who will say, we don't want abortion coming into our own town, especially those that don't have them. We don't want it coming, and we can work with you to get the grassroots effort going, to get petitions signed, going door to door, helping to get with us to draft an ordinance that can be presented to the city council, and then, Lord willing, be passed and put into effect so that that city could become one of the sanctuary cities in America. In Ohio, it's we're a well, relatively red state, at least for now, but we've got our hands full here trying to keep abortionists out of our state. We have major cities that commit abortions, large cities like Dayton, Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati. All that's where all the abortions take place. But there are a lot of cities where we don't want where we don't want this to happen. And I'm sure there are going to be many people across the state that are interested in making sure that doesn't happen. So you can go and fill out this questionnaire. Also, if you would like and share our page on Facebook, the Mark Harrington Show Facebook page, share that with your friends, like it, pass it on to your friends and others who might want to tune in. Twice a week, we come to you here uh, with the marching orders for the culture war and things you can be doing, practical things you can be doing to end the killing of unborn babies. So, Mark, would you tell us you're having a battle right now with the city of Lubbock, Texas? Why
Sure.
is that? Right now, you're trying to pass, from what I understand, you're trying to pass another city ordinance there, but you have a little bit of battle with them, and that's typical. I mean, we expect the abortionists to jump up and try to put an end to this movement because it's gaining steam.
Well, we had a senator and two representatives reach out to the city of Lubbock and encourage them to pass an ordinance outlawing abortion within their city limits.
Now,
And
where is
the
Lubbock
city,
in Texas? Where is it geographically?
it is up what's called in the Cap Rock. It's in the top part of Texas,
Okay.
and so it is south of Amarillo. And
Mhm.
Lubbock is the city of about 300,000, so it's a pretty
It's a
good
good
sized
sized
city.
city.
It's home
Yeah.
to Texas Tech. And
Uh-huh.
in that city, well, the mayor and city council pretty much scoffed at the idea of outlawing abortion. They rejected the pleas of the senator and representatives in that area, and they said that they believed it was unconstitutional to outlaw abortion. And we didn't have a choice because they weren't going to vote on this. And we knew
Mhm.
that Planned Parenthood was looking at Lubbock. And
Right.
so we ended up starting an initiative and referendum drive there in Lubbock because the city charter allowed that. And we got about 7,000 signatures in just a couple of weeks, a matter of just days, and ended up, we forced them to vote on the issue. We saw them vote it down. Well, according to the city charter, once they vote it down, we're allowed to bring it to a vote of the people. And so on May 1st,
Hmm.
the city of Lubbock they're going to get to vote. The citizens themselves will get to vote on if abortion is going to be outlawed in their city or if it's not.
Is Planned Parenthood trying to get into this? Are they already there? Or are they trying to set up there?
So Planned Parenthood is already there, and we hear that they're going to be starting abortions before May 1st.
I
And
see.
so what a tragedy that the city council of Lubbock had the opportunity to outlaw abortion before it started in their community, but they dropped the ball. They passed the buck, and so now it's a very different battle. But we're still May 1st. We're getting out the votes, and we're going to see abortion outlawed, hopefully, in Lubbock, Texas.
Wow, that'd be huge. Folks, obviously right now, many of these cities don't have abortion clinics that are the sanctuary cities for the unborn. And that's kind of the point. I mean, we want to keep them out, but we're not just cherry picking all the easy targets. Although we do want to line up and get as many of those as we can to sign on to this and get it passed in their own towns to keep abortionists and abortion out of their cities. But we're not afraid of going into towns where we might have a real fight on our hands. In fact, eventually we're going to have to be doing that too. We expect to have many victories, but we expect to possibly have some defeats too. And that's okay because we understand we're up against it. This is a real fight, right? I mean, the evil one's not going to lay down easy and take it as we're trying to outlaw abortion in these states, city by city. So we expect some pushback. I appreciate that you guys aren't just, picking out the easy places. You're going to places like Lubbock, Texas, where, you got a real fight in your hands, but you have a good shot at actually getting it done. So, folks, again, take action by going to sanctuarycities.com. You can see it right now on my feed right now, and just fill this out if you want to be part of this. This is something you can do in your own town. If you're frustrated with what's going on in Washington, what's going on in your own state house, you feel like nothing's happening, or if anything's happening, it's all bad, it's all evil and wicked, then you can fight back. You can do it on your own level, on your own local level, by helping us get this ordinance passed in your own town. So go to sanctuarycities.com, fill out the questionnaire, and we'll be in touch with you to see what we can get done in your city. Also, folks, next week I'm going to have Chet Gallagher on the program. Chet Gallagher is a former police officer, Las Vegas police officer, who refused to arrest Operation Rescue members in the 1990s. He's going to be on my program. And I'm going to have Marvin Olasky as well. He's the author of Abortion Rights. He's written a new book that we want to talk about. So tune in next week. We've got two really good guests, Chet Gallagher and Marvin Olasky. Mark, we got about a minute left. Wrap it up for our listeners, our viewers here. Exhort them. I'm hugely encouraged that we've now got our 24th city. This is the first city outside of the state of Texas. This is gaining steam all across America. It's time to get on board.
Absolutely. And, we never know how a city council is going to react. We've seen city councils with a 93% Trump vote this ordinance down. And so
Mm.
our faith is not in how conservative our communities are. We have to really put our leaders to the test. Do they represent our beliefs and values? And so the Sanctuary Cities for the Unborn initiative is a way that we can do everything we can do to prevent the Biden agenda of seeing abortion access in every zip code come into our cities. This allows your city to say, babies may be murdered somewhere else, but in our city limits, it's not going to happen, not on our watch. And that's what so many leaders are standing up and doing. And we should support those leaders. We should prod those leaders to to get involved in the fight, because if they're not fighting now, when are they going to join the fight?
That's right, folks. I exhort you to get on board with this movement. It's sweeping across America. We're taking the long view. We don't think this is something that's going to happen overnight. We're going to have to, knock off these cities one at a time. But we're counting on you to help us out. So take action by going to sanctuarycities.com, fill out the questionnaire, let us know that you'd be an organizer in your own town, township, city, county, and let us know, because we'll get in touch with you and we'll work with you to get this done and protect the unborn within the city limits in which you live. You've been listening to your radio activist here on the Mark Harrington Show. We'll see you next time. God bless you. God bless America. And remember, America, to bless God.
You've been listening to Mark Harrington, your radio activist. For more information on how to become a witness against the evil plague in America, call Created Equal at 614-269-7808. That's 614-269-7808. Or go online to createdequal.net. Createdequal.net. Be sure to tune to the Mark Harrington Show next time for your marching orders in the culture war.